524-135.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Have you ever seen the Penn and Teller show? I don't really watch it on TV. I see it on the internet, so I see pieces of it, whatever. Anyway, it's Fool Us, where magicians will try to fool Penn and Teller, do a trick that they can't figure out how it's done. Well, most of the time, Penn and Teller can figure out how it's done. And gosh, and of course, from the audience perspective, it's like, oh my gosh, that was an amazing trick. How is it possible? But they, most of the time can figure it out. That's got to be... Oh my gosh. First of all, a great opportunity to be presenting your trick in front of these two. But second of all, a big sense of, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I hope I can fool them, right?
Yeah.
Our next guest is one of the judges. You've heard us talking about the Writers and Illustrators of the Future awards for writers and illustrators. Our next guest is an amazing illustrator. Her name is Chernik, and I just spoke to her real briefly off the air. My gosh, she has contributed to. I'm at her website: Mattel, McDonald's, the Connecticut Opera, El Conquistador, the Boston Beer Company. I'm trying to think of some names. Did I say that one? Rocket Dog Shoes, whatever that is. Sears, there's a name we know. And the U.S. Postal Service, and her artwork is amazing. And it's everything. It's not like many different styles. That's my spin on it. I don't know if I'm saying the right words or not. But she's on there to talk to us about her career and how to beat the odds and break into being a professional illustrator. Beating the odds. You don't realize how much competition there is out there until you see somebody who's really, really good and realize that they didn't make the grade, right? You know what I mean? It's like a magician who's really, really good, but we know how you did the trick, and so I'm sorry, you don't get the prize. Chernik is not only really good, but very successful at this, and she's on the phone. Good morning, Echo. How are you? I love your name, by the way.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me on the show.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
Seattle.
Seattle.
It's a beautiful morning here in Seattle.
You got up early to be with us. My brother just moved from here to Oregon, so I know it's something.
I just moved here a few years ago from the East Coast, and it's just gorgeous out here.
Where did you live before?
New York.
So the artwork that you do, I guess the first question is, oh my gosh, no, I have a million questions. Are we looking at, and I don't even know where to start. Well, how did you start? Were you always doodling when you were a kid, or how did that start?
Yes, I started when I was a child. I loved to draw, and then when I was a junior in high school, my parents said, if you want to be an illustrator, we're going to send you off to these summer classes, and if you come back and you still want to do it, we'll build you a studio in the basement. And I went off and I came back and said, I want to be an illustrator, and they built me a studio in the basement.
Oh wow,
so, nice.
Now what was in the studio?
They have an old drafting table that was in the family, and then I had a lot of supplies and some tack boards and stuff. It was really basic. Now I have a lot more in my studio now. Then it was just pretty much a drafting table and a really nice lamp.
Oh, nice. Is there a story behind your name, Echo?
It was my middle name originally, but I changed it, so now it's my first name.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So I'm a professional advertising illustrator, and most of my work is for advertising companies like you read off. I've done work for Miller, Camel, Coors, NASCAR, Trek,
Right.
Postal Seasonings, Jose Cuervo, and I absolutely love it. And the Illustrators of the Future contacted me last year and asked me to become a judge.
So had you ever entered their competition?
No, I didn't know about it. That's one of the things that I want to do is I want to really promote having young illustrators enter it. I would have certainly entered it if I'd known about it. It doesn't cost anything to enter, and it's just fantastic.
I know we're on the same page as you regarding that. We've spoken to illustrators and authors, and I'm always amazed on both ends. The writers that make the grade, and the illustrators, they're unbelievable. Have you seen any yet? Have you seen any of the work yet from the illustrators?
Oh yes. Last year I was able to judge, and I went down to their amazing ceremony down in Los Angeles, and got to meet them. And actually, one of the things that the illustrators get to do is they get to spend a week with some of the other judges, including myself, and we teach them as much as we can in a week that help them become successful artists when they
really?
continue onward. So that's part of the invaluable thing to get out of it.
Is artwork on a computer easier, harder than on paper? What are your thoughts on it? I mean, you know what I don't like? I don't like when somebody says, "Oh, it was done with a computer," as if to write off the talent of the person who did it. And that's not where I'm going with this. Because I know better.
They say computer generated. I'm like, no, the computer didn't do anything. It's not generated by the computer.
Okay.
There's no just make art button.
Right.
Honestly, I work both digitally and traditionally. I do oil paintings and I do a lot of my work digitally because I do a lot of advertising work, and any changes very fast. So working digitally makes the most sense for me. But it's just a medium, and it should be just treated as a medium. I don't find it any faster or any different, except it is much more versatile for making changes. For instance, I could do an entire painting, and then Miller calls me up and says, "Hey, it looks great. Just make her a blonde instead of a brunette and send it back in." And we need it in 20 minutes. I can do that when I'm working digitally. I can't do that in oil painting. So, so it makes sense.
And the way we relate to that is we do music. So if we do music like in the old way with reel-to-reel tape, and somebody wanted to change, it's like, okay, we got to go into the studio and do everything over. But now if they say, "Oh, can you replace the flute with a violin?" No problem.
Right.
So that's how I can relate to what you're saying.
But it is just a medium, and I encourage all of my students. I encourage to definitely learn to draw and learn to paint traditionally because it makes you much more versatile. Once you can draw and paint in any medium, you can pretty much do it in digitally or in gouache or with a pencil or with a stick in mud. You can draw and paint in any medium once you have that skill set.
Yeah.
How do you encourage other illustrators to keep their own style without copying somebody else?
Well, when I remember back when I was in art school and I was trying to figure out what my style is. I'm like, what is my style? I don't know what my style is. And I was experimenting in different ways of drawing things. And sometimes I would copy other artists to see if I could do it, but I could never able to. It always had a twist on it that was my own. And then one of my roommates said, "Lay everything out. Let's take a look at it." I put everything out, and it was clear as day. You could see that was my style. I'm like, "Oh wow, I have a style." So I think your style is something that just comes out. It's just you. It's those decisions that you'll make that'll be different than anybody else. It's good if you can start off studying people and trying to emulate them to see how they would do it, and you're inevitably going to learn something about the way you would do it. But you're going to veer off to your own direction. Once you've kind of figured out how they do it, put their work aside and just keep doing it your way, and you're going to veer into your own style. So
the topic in my notes says how to beat the odds and break into being a professional illustrator. I wanted to ask you something. A lot of times we might be an artist might be wanting to be the next Rembrandt. Mm-hmm. Is it harder to become the next Rembrandt than it is the next commercial artist, illustrator? Like I'm guessing all these companies come to you because you can give them the product they need for whatever it is they're trying to sell.
And on time. On time is important.
On time.
On time.
When you're a commercial illustrator, yes, it's a business, and you have to be professional and you have to be punctual because a lot of the advertising companies, they'll need it very quickly. So being professional and having it there when they need it is an important part of being successful. Artists, sometimes they fall into, well, I'll get it in whenever I want to get it in. Well, when in order to make it, you have to be reliable. You have to have talent. You have to be hardworking. You have to be, professional and reliable because it is a business. And you just have to love it because it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but you don't feel like it's a lot of work because you work 18 hours. And you'll be like, it doesn't feel like it because you're like, I'm just painting and painting and painting. And you're like, oh, I worked 18 hours. Mm-hmm. So, but it's fantastic. It's a wonderful career, but it is a lot of work. So you just have to be dedicated and you have to just they should just keep working at it.
You have to be objective, though, about your own stuff. You have to be your own editor, that when the project is done, before you submit it, you have to really be honest to see if it really does capture what your client wanted captured.
Absolutely. One of the things that I do now, later on in my career as an advertising illustrator, is I'm able to foresee what my client needs will be. Having worked on, for instance, I'm looking at some tee boxes that I did. I look at tee boxes. If I'm hired to do tee boxes, I know, well, they're going to want to use this on the boxes, but they might also want to use it on the web, but they might also want to use it in an advertisement. So I go ahead and I create the art so that it can be used in many different formats. And I automatically give it extra bleed on the side. And I automatically make it a little bigger. And I automatically give them extra things. So then they go, oh, well, we want to use it on a poster. Oh, here you go. Oh, wow, you already did that? That's so great. And it makes me look really good. And it really, go above and beyond. And just think the whole project through. That's what I tell my students to do.
I'm looking at a poster on your website, and I think it's called Bread. And it's got a pretty lady. And you know who she reminds me of? The pretty lady reminds me of one of the ladies from ABBA. Anyway, so I don't know their ABBA names, but anyway, you've got so many images like hidden in here, like the little what do you call those little Russian nesting dolls?
Matryoshkas.
Bread. That's the one you're looking at.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the neoclassicists, and neoclassicist artists would like Jacques-Louis David would put a lot of symbolism in their artwork. Obviously, I'm influenced by Art Nouveau, Alphonse Mucha, primarily for a lot of my advertising work. But the neoclassicists, like I said, like to put a lot of symbolism. So I like to hide a lot of things in my art. And one of the things my fans tell me is they'll have it hanging in their room or their studio or their office for a year, and then they'll be like, "I just noticed this."
Oh yeah, I bet you. I bet you they do. Yeah.
Stuff, so.
Well, because the first thing you know is you notice a sexy lady. That's the first thing you notice.
Yeah, we love your nudes. They are so classy.
I wasn't going to say that, but you were.
Well,
we do.
They are.
All right.
They're very classy.
All right, let me take a break. We will be right back. This is fun. You having fun? I hope you're having fun, Echo. Are you?
Having a great time. Absolutely.
Good.
Great start to the morning.
All right, so let's take a break, and we will be right back. By the way, you want to see some of the things we're looking at? The website I have is echo-x.com, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Echo
that's right. You also get to the store if you go to echo-chernik.com. But Echo-X, it has my commercial work.
Okay, Echo. What was the other one? Your whole name. Okay, Echo-Chernik.
My whole name.
Okay, Chernik. If you want to look it up, we'll take a break and be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Times of clouds and sun for today, Wednesday, with a couple of thunderstorms around, mainly this afternoon, high 85 to 89. A shower or thunderstorm in spots early Wednesday night, then partly cloudy overnight, low 74 to 78. Thursday, times of clouds and sun with a couple of heavy afternoon thunderstorms in the area, high 86 to 90. On Friday, partly sunny with an afternoon thunderstorm, high 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Looking to put your money to work? Florida Credit Union has a CD special, 25 months for 1.41% APY with a $10,000 minimum. Federally insured by the NCUA, a government agency. These rates effective through September 15th, subject to change at any time. Visit one of Florida Credit Union's convenient locations today or their website, flcu.org, or call 352-237-8222. Don't miss this 25-month CD special. Again, the APY is 1.41%. Act now.
When you go into Automax, Marion County's #1 pre-owned dealer for over 15 years, you won't take the new car depreciation because Automax saves you thousands on late model vehicles. Browse the inventory online at automaxocala.com. Then come down to see the great vehicles and upfront pricing in person. Compare up to 60 models inside the climate control showroom. So take your time. No high pressure, no gimmicks, no games. On the corner of 17th and Easy Street. Automax. Quality cars, outlet prices.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Times of clouds and sun for today, Wednesday, with a couple of thunderstorms around, mainly this afternoon, high 85 to 89. A shower or thunderstorm in spots early Wednesday night, then partly cloudy overnight, low 74 to 78. Thursday, times of clouds and sun with a couple of heavy afternoon thunderstorms in the area, high 86 to 90. On Friday, partly sunny with an afternoon thunderstorm, high 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
All right, thank you. 19 minutes after 10 o'clock, Echo Chernik is on the phone out in Seattle, and she is an amazing artist, an award-winning artist, an illustrator whose client list includes Coors, NASCAR, the Dave Matthews Band, the Post Office, Publix, Disney, Penguin Books. It goes on and on and on. Check out a couple of websites. One is hername.com, Echo Chernik, Chernik, and the other one is X.com. Echo, can I tell you something somebody told me once?
Yes, go ahead.
That's a leading question, isn't it? All right. I was at a museum. All right. For those who want to know, it was the Appleton Museum here in Ocala. Beautiful museum, by the way. and there were some nudes floating, like their feet don't, like they're hovering over other people. And somebody said that this artist or this period of time or this country this artist lived in or something had some kind of a rule where you could not paint nudes unless they were not human. So they had to be angels. So these ladies floating with nothing on
Yeah.
were basically angels. Isn't that the strangest thing? I mean, we have weird thoughts about our own bodies, don't we? Anyway,
that is weird.
Have you ever heard that before? That there was a time period or a country or someplace where the only way you could legally get away with doing a nude is if she wasn't, and it's always a she, by the way.
Exactly.
Thank God.
Well, Echo painted a fella float.
There was one guy floating, yeah. And in fact, that's what made me think of it, because you got a guy floating, but he's not naked. He's got a
Loincloth.
He's got something on.
He's got a wrap.
Yeah, he's got a wrap. Yeah, he's got a wrap. They say, the Icarus revelation. So,
Icarus, yeah.
Icarus, I'm sorry.
I do know that in Europe, at some of the old paintings and some of the old sculptures, they'll have lumps over their genitals where where nudity comes and goes in fashion. Because they'll have a beautiful painting by Rembrandt, or not Rembrandt really, but one of the nudes, and then they'll paint over the penis, and then they'll paint like flowers and leaves, and then they'll paint like it back over there, and then they'll paint leaves again, and then they'll do layers and layers of foliage and
wow.
heart.
Whoa! If I was Icarus, I would be very proud. Look at this, right? You know what that shows you? There's something underneath those flowers.
Several layers of something.
Oh, that's
Because
funny.
depending on how prudish people were at that time, and then they'll go, no, it should be the way it used to be, and they'll repaint it on, and then no, it's too naked, and then they'll paint it over, and then and it goes like that. So it's funny how it goes.
I
in and out
never
of
heard that.
fashion.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So do you use live models, or because if you do, can I come and visit? or I mean, do you use photos?
You're onto my princesses, aren't you? You found my princesses section with my new.
It looks like I'm somewhere. Yeah, I mean they're everywhere. This is a nice page.
I think if you go to my Echo X page and you Echo-X, you scroll all the way to the bottom of fine art. I have, I think, 3 of them up there now. There's now 6 in the series.
Oh, yes.
That's the nude sleeping beauties reclining, and I was hired by a collector to do that one, to do all of those. And he wanted he collects a lot of pinup art, and he wanted a lot of beautiful nudes, but of different princesses. And I wanted them to be very, very subtle. So when you look at them, you see a beautiful neoclassic nude first. Then you start to notice all the little details, like in Sleeping Beauty, you notice the spinning wheel, and you notice the prince's hand, you notice the tapestry that's illustrated with the entire story across behind her. And very subtle, so.
But it's very tastefully
Look at the
done.
hair.
You are
I'm
so
looking at
classy.
that picture right now. After you get around the body, you look at the hair.
You don't sound like you're around the body yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, her hair is coming up from behind her, and it's real. I mean, it looks so real.
It does.
And who's the creep with the hands coming down? Who's that?
The hand model for that would be actually my husband.
Oh, okay. Well, no offense.
That's Prince Charming coming to wake up Sleeping Beauty.
I never knew Sleeping Beauty looked like this before.
He's going to go see the movie again.
Oh, no. This is great.
We had an art studio here in town, and they gave classes how to paint like the old masters. And we had been in there one day, and sure enough, there were 6 artists that did exactly the same painting of the Mona Lisa. Is that a good thing?
Oh, absolutely. It's good to study things in the past, because you have, in order to replicate a master or any other picture, you have to really, really look at it much deeper than you would just when you go and look at the Mona Lisa, you're like, oh, look, it's the Mona Lisa, it's gorgeous. But if you're trying to copy it, you really have to stare at the strokes, and you have to figure out, how did they do that? And you have to solve problems. And just by exercising, that way, you automatically become a better artist. So when you go to do your own things, you'll take some of that with you. Like, oh yeah, I learned that, and it improves you. So I greatly encourage people to try to expand themselves. I'll take projects in all the time that are not things I normally illustrate. I did some work for Disney, and they're like, can you do Disney princesses? I'm like, sure, I can figure that out. So
Yeah.
I had to really look at them, and I had to figure out how they were executed, and then I went ahead and had to, and illustrated them, and they came out fantastic. But I had to study it. I had to figure out, all right, how do we do this? So it's good to, I believe in always trying to grow yourself as an artist as opposed to sticking in your same style.
I think what you're doing with the artists is amazing, and the fact that you're encouraging young illustrators to participate in this contest. I have been, and Robin has been, a big supporter of this contest since we found out about it. The main reason is because, I mean, these are really people at the L. Ron Hubbard, what's it called again? The
Writers of the Future.
Writers and Illustrators of the Future Awards. They really do give guidance. In other words, the authors we've spoken to and the artists we've spoken to who did not make the grade the first time around got really good feedback from the judges, and you're one of them, Erko. And as long as they weren't defeated by being not rejected but by not winning, so they can listen and learn from the feedback that you give them, and then next year or 2 years from now, or in one lady's case it was like 14 years later, she finally got one in. So I think it's a wonderful thing.
Well, L. Ron Hubbard set this up, as you know, in order to pay, as a means of paying it forward to, and really boosting the careers of young illustrators and artists in the future. And I think that's just incredibly admirable.
And you have
to help others.
And if there are any illustrators out there, they can still participate in the contest until September the 30th to submit their submissions.
And we judge them quarterly, and for now it's until September 30th. And then if you miss this year, if you don't get in this year, do it next year. And just if you don't get chosen this year, just keep submitting and keep learning. I really look things I look for. I look for talent and skill, of course, and we all do. But additionally, I look for the ability to communicate through artwork and to tell a story. That's what separates an illustrator from a fine artist. Fine artists, can create beautiful art, but illustrators really need to communicate a concept, whether it's to sell toilet paper, or you have to do a beautiful illustration for that, or whether it's to communicate a science fiction story or do a book cover or whatever you're trying to communicate. That's a different skill.
That's interesting.
I look for the vestiges of that, of something that's telling me something.
The eyes on the ladies you paint are unbelievable. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, they look liquid. They look liquid. They look reflective. I mean, they've got the light in them, and oh my gosh.
I hate to break it to you, but eyes are actually liquid.
Are those all oils? Those paintings that were commissioned?
Yes, those are oils.
They are. How long did it take you to do one?
How big are they?
They take me about 3 months, and they're I think they're 30 by 40-ish. The sizes vary on those a little bit, so. But they take me about 3 months. But I have other pieces I do in between. I could do my commissioned advertising work in between because their deadlines are usually pretty short. So.
Wow. Echo, thank you for taking time out of your day to talk to us. I'm sure you're not painting as you're talking, are you? Can you multitask?
Oh, no, not yet. No. Not yet. I'm still having my Starbucks because I am from Seattle. So
that's right.
Oh, there you go.
The message I want to leave the listeners with is A, Echo's amazing.
She is.
And B,
fabulous.
if you are the next Echo Chernik and you can illustrate and you've got that talent, maybe you're a young person, or you don't have to be young. This contest is for everybody.
Yes.
You got to enter this. It's free. It costs nothing, and you will get very useful feedback from the judges. You might even win, and if you don't win, you might win next year, but you will become a better artist because of this. I'm convinced of it. How to Beat the Odds. That's not what I want to tell them. I want to tell them the L. Ron Hubbard Writers and Illustrators of the Future Award, Volume 33, comes out in May. Yep. And
September 30th.
I encourage people to check out the Writers of the Future Volume 32, which is available right now. The stories in it are amazing, and all the winners have been chosen by the judges to have the raw talent and desire to really be amazing. So if your listeners like discovering the next best thing in science fiction, that's really everybody is really at their start of their career, so it's exciting to read them.
I don't know if they ever send us a book. We always talk about them. They need to send us a book.
Yeah.
Are the pictures printed in color, the illustrations?
The illustrations, I believe, are in color. The cover is.
Yeah, the color. I know the cover is.
I believe they're in color, but I can't quite remember. So.
But you have until September 30th if you're an illustrator or a writer to submit to the contest. It will be fabulous.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Writersofthefuture.com is the website for that, and Echo's website.
They just have to be non-published. That's the only thing for the illustrators.
Okay, non-published. All right, Echo, you got something moving around over there. Thank you for being on the air with us today, and enjoy your coffee.
Thank you very much for having me.
We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. Hillary Clinton returns to the campaign trail tomorrow.